here's the question: why the price point on the RC3?
There's a lot of manufacturing processes in it, long and the short. There's been all these. I think we talked about it offline, which was that we've been meaning to address this or jump on, like a live stream and just answer some questions about it. But yeah, there's.
How was your trip in?
It was good. It was mellow. We have a direct flight from Santa Ana to here, so it's super easy.
How was the airport navigating out of Houston?
Not too bad.
Not too bad?
Yeah, not too bad.
Construction's been horrible there. They've been working on it for years.
Ever.
The only thing was weird was that our carousel was number 11. I don't know how intimately familiar you are with it, but there is no carousel 11, which had me tripping out because it goes like, 1, 2 in this big circle, right? And you get to 10, and the next one is 12. And I'm like, walking around feeling like I'm crazy. But anyways, it ended up being like they put it against the wall, and it's just like a sticker on the wall, and they bring them out and line them up against the wall for that one. And I was like, that's not a carousel. Because people told me, it's over there. I'm like, it's not over here.
I promise, dude. I've looked.
I've looked. Yeah, anyways.
That's so good.
Yeah. When I flew back from Arkansas, I hadn't flown with a rifle case in forever.
Yeah.
And so I'm standing there and I'm looking at my little Samsung AirTag, on my phone, and it's like 27 feet away from you, and I'm like, I don't see it 27 feet away from me. So I walk up a little closer to this desk, and it's like 11 feet, and I look behind the desk, and there's my case behind the desk. I'm like, yeah, can I get that, please?
Yeah, when I came back from North Carolina, I think mine went to Carousel 11. I ended up flying. I usually don't fly with guns, but I ended up flying with some guns at that time, and I did the same thing. I was tracking on the AirTag, and it's just sitting right there. And so I walked up and grabbed it. I was like, there's a lady there. I was like, hey, can I was like, hey, this one's mine. She's like, okay, take it.
Didn't look this lady checked my ID.
Oh, yeah.
So I appreciate that.
I know. I was normally they check your ID because I was like, hey, that's mine. Can I take it? She's like, oh, yeah, go.
Dude,
like,
it's
Okay. Free guns.
I'd say one in 6 or 7 flights, they'll pop out on a carousel. It'll pop out in if it's a big one, pop out in an oversized thing, slide down and be by itself, and you just come walking up to it. And I'm like, that's not cool, man. But yeah, most times it's pretty good. They have to behind the rope check the ID or whatever.
Yeah.
But.
I have flown with gun dozens of times, and I've never had it come out anywhere except on the carousel with the rest of the bag.
Oh, wow.
That's how most of mine were. I stopped flying with guns a couple of years ago, but up until then, it was like almost always on the carousel. Only like 3 times that I have to go ID. Mm-hmm. I haven't done it in a while until this last time.
Yeah,
I think most times now it's pretty good with the ID
thing.
I just started shipping guns, man. I hate flying with guns. Like
I love flying out of Houston though with guns because every time I go out, it's super easy.
Yeah, flying out of Houston's not bad, but flying or you never know where you're going to fly out of. Like I had a bad experience in Cleveland. Colorado was bad. Or was it Utah that was bad?
Utah was bad.
Yeah. Like you never know how it's going to be coming back. So
Utah didn't have an X-ray, so they had to literally take everything out of the case, look at underneath the foam, swab it, and they're like, "Oh, it came back as
there's gunpowder here."
Yeah, and I'm like,
"Who'd have thought?"
Literally, the case is full of guns and ammo. My guy.
Utah, you think they would be better?
And then they're like, "Yeah, we got to call the supervisor over." And then supervisor comes over, he's like, "Yeah. Okay, next." It was bad.
Well, I'm glad your flight was good.
Thanks, man.
And you got here and you found the secret location.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Cool.
I feel like I'm at a CIA black site.
Yeah.
You got the grand tour?
I had to put an X on a mailbox, and then I came and slid me a piece of paper. It was weird. I was like, it seems a little elaborate.
Do that. We should do dead drops sometime for people to get here. Where are we?
I have to go to Chick-fil-A in Montgomery.
You do it like a challenge and pass. Like a guy comes up and the geese fly east at sundown, and then you have to.
Oh, there's going to be so much fun we can have with that. But thank you, Andrew, for coming up, and we've already been rolling for a few minutes, so I think we should intro.
We're recording on all of them.
Yeah, everything's
red lights everywhere.
Red lights. Red lights. You got a red light over there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That one's got red.
Yeah.
That one's red too.
Is that one red?
That one is definitely red.
That one's going.
Yeah, we've done that before.
We've had a couple times where we forget to hit record, so
that's hilarious.
We have backup mics.
It's not funny at all.
You just make it a kung fu movie where it's
we were
you do the
voiceover. Super bad voiceover.
We've re-recorded an intro before and then started the intro, then cut in to where the audio is kind of bad because we're recording audio on 3 places. So it kind of works. Anyway. We're good.
Anyways. So welcome to the Big Text Ordnance podcast. I'm Ike. We have Chris. We're joined. We also have Ian. Don't forget about
He's
him
back.
over there.
Hi.
Yeah, finally after a long little hiatus.
Yeah, I've been out of town a lot.
Been traveling. But today we're joined with Aaron and then Andrew from Surefire. So
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank y'all for coming
This
on
is
and
awesome.
making the flight over here to come hang out with us.
Yeah, man. Stoked to be here.
Yeah,
We're
appreciate it.
excited to have you.
Doing some RC3 content tomorrow at the range on the new Surefire suppressor that dropped. We
Couple
actually
weeks ago?
got ours in end of October or something like that.
3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Oh,
3 or
wow.
4 weeks ago already.
That's about when it launched.
Yeah, we were one of the first people to have them,
Mm-hmm.
so we really appreciate you getting those over to us.
Yeah.
and everything.
Excited to have you guys as a partner with it, and I'm stoked to get on the range tomorrow and shoot.
Yeah. Yeah, we've shot a little bit indoors with RC3, but we're excited to see how it is outside.
Yeah.
It's totally different sound outside versus in a confined space inside.
Yeah, especially interestingly with lower back pressure suppressor designs, it's definitely affected like what you're around, where you are specifically in relation to obstacles and whatnot, just because you're pushing so much more gas forward than previously. So it definitely makes a difference indoors versus out.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And you've been with Surefire for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I've been saying 13 years, and I just realized that was wrong. I think it's 12 years. I'm coming up on 13, but anyways, I've been there for a minute. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Close enough.
Yep.
How'd you move into that? Tell the world about Andrew from Surefire.
It's not that exciting. So yeah, I originally, I was a reservist in the Marine Corps. I had a buddy. I've actually known him. He's one of my best friends since middle school. And yeah, he was working there first, and I was doing a bunch of different jobs at the time. I was doing construction, and they had a job opening for tech support, and so I applied and I got the job. I was kind of a flashlight geek since even like high school. I got my first Surefire light, so I knew the product line, which kind of helped me get my foot in the door. And I think I was in tech support for a year or so. I went to like inside sales, like ISRs you guys deal with, I'm sure. And then I went to product management for a couple years. And then they needed a manager back in the customer service department, so I went back over there for a little bit. And then I went into the marketing department. I did PR for a handful of years, and I'm still in the marketing department, just kind of overseeing things. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, you've been rolling there for a minute. I mean, like that's where I met you at like the first symposium. I think you were out there is where we originally met.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, that's probably about right.
yeah. And then a couple times, I've just seen you in symposium. Y'all link up at SHOT and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool, man. Didn't know we were going to have a Marine on. We should have got some crayons. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Should have
what's
got
going on?
Justin and Josh on. And,
Yeah.
it
That would have been like singing and dancing and doing that.
Birthday was last week or 2 weeks
Something
ago.
they'll remind us soon enough. But so what do you do? What's your official title? at
I'm the
Surefire?
senior marketing manager.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So a little bit of everything. I mean, we're not, despite the appearance, we're not a very huge team. So, it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's cool because every day is never the same. I'm doing a lot of different things, but from, planning what the year is going to look like as far as, initiatives, marketing initiatives, trade show, ad placements, basically just everything in, marketing related, is kind of my team. So, we have a couple graphic designers that are really awesome, really good copywriter, really good trade show guy. But other than that, an e-commerce guy, but that's about it right now. So it's a small team and everybody wears multiple hats, but like I said, it makes it kind of fun.
Whoever the Instagram guy is has shared 2 of my stories recently, so I'm basically an influencer now.
Yeah, you're basically an influencer.
That's awesome.
You made it, man.
Yeah, discount codes, free products.
You're
it's a
there. And
lifestyle.
And the center of the show though today. Aaron has been on before. You were in our
The Bruiser recap.
the
Bruiser
AAR.
AR. And I don't think we touched on what you actually did in that other than you were there shooting with us.
I just
So-
kind of sat there.
I know. You were good though. What's your show Or what's your part in the show today?
So I am y'all's Surefire rep. I've worked for the nationwide agency that reps Surefire across the country since 2014, coming up on my 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
So
What was the award you got last year?
that was for the Suppressor Dealer of the Year award, which was Big Tex Ordnance.
There you
Damn,
go.
son.
Nobody sold more Surefire to dealers than Aaron. Aaron
been slinging them cans.
Slinging them cans everywhere. And he's
I need to bring that up here and put it in the,
what?
put it in the podcast.
You can move it. I mean, we don't have to like hold it the
Was
whole
it like
time.
a gold
You can-
suppressor?
No,
Oh,
It should be.
not quite that cool. It should be.
It should be a pin that he wears.
Yeah.
Just lets people
Everywhere.
know.
Totally.
Shot show badge holder,
Mm-hmm.
suppressor dealer, salesman of the year.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but
I don't
I'm
know.
kind of a big deal.
I like bringing it up. That's a good, that's a good accomplishment.
no, that's
man.
the real deal.
I mean, it's all you.
Oh,
You
it's
guys,
not
you guys
just
are the ones
us.
that are moving them. I'm just punching in the orders.
It's our customers that are buying.
Look
That's
at how
true.
humble
Like
he
we're
is.
we're,
It's
we're
true.
buying
They're
them,
the-
then we're
they're the
selling
real-
them.
Yeah,
they're the real
heroes.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
the heroes.
Buy more
the-
RC2s.
You're the hero
and
that
3s.
emails you like, "Hey, I put these on order for you because I saw you were out." I'm like, what?
Aaron said
What?
thank you for his trophy.
Yeah. Aaron said thank you. We'll bring it up. We'll get some pictures of it for the listeners sometime. So we got a bunch of questions for you
Uh-oh.
from our
The Facebook group was alive and well.
the Facebook group. There's some
That's what the people want.
angst out there, but they'll be okay. So we're just going to start because we usually don't do really product focused podcasts. A lot of people have questions about Surefire. Surefire's been around since early 80s,
Yeah.
technically.
Founded
Laser
in-
products. Yeah.
Laser products.
Founded in '79. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's older than anybody in the room.
Yeah.
Except for Chris. He was fought in the Civil War.
I'm still not in the I was not born in the 70s. And I know Aaron and me are only like 2 months apart, something like that, not even that. So wow. Surefire is older than any of us.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They started with lasers, as Ike mentioned.
yeah.
That was like the first product. Laser Products was the company, and then Surefire was actually, a line that they launched of the flashlights, and then that started taking over, selling more, and the company changed names. Actually, not that long ago. I want to say early 2000s was when it actually changed.
Officially to Surefire.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. That's really cool. I remember, what was it? The laser on the top of the revolver for Terminator, right? Was that the
It was in 1911, but yeah.
1911? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you
Well,
watch
same
Predator
thing.
2, every gun in that movie has a laser products laser on it.
That's awesome.
We were at this law enforcement agency a while back, and they had laser products. I think it was for their MP5s, but it had like a remote battery pack, basically. It was-
Sick.
Yeah, it was like it's just tucked away in their armory. Been there for.
Some dude
Since
would do
the
some
80s.
horrible things for like a clone correct.
I know. Yeah, we tried to buy them.
I was
like,
gonna say
hey,
you should have tried to get
I was
those.
like, hey, what do I got to do to like let's do a trade here? But they weren't letting that happen. But I was like, yeah,
Just holding on to it for.
we used to have tons of them, but we don't have as many as we used to have because like they're just okay, so and so wants one or whatever over the years, and there's not as many. We have a handful of like the real OG old ones, but not as many as we used to have. Those things are probably pretty rare.
yeah,
I wonder if it was worth more than the gun that it was on.
probably. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
When did Surefire get into suppressors? Do you know when they started dabbling into that?
Yeah, I think I know that we just wrote it's like 20 or 21 years old, and I should know that verbatim, but it's roughly 20 years ago
Oh wow.
that Barry started it. Yeah.
And Barry's
Yeah.
been around that long, huh? With
Yep.
the company?
Yep. That's his pet project. He stood up the suppressor division for the first 10 years or so. He was burning the midnight oil. I've heard stories from a bunch of people. There's a lot of people that have been there a long time, and sleeping in his office, was working round the clock to turn and burn and make things himself. And he's an impressive, driven individual. It's pretty cool to work with him.
That's really cool. That's like a pillar of the community almost, like that we're in, is like you can trace lineages back to different dudes with different guns and accessories and how it works. It's really neat that Surefire's that much lineage in that actually short of time.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have met, like people that have shot and developed and done a lot for the community, and it's pretty cool to just even glean a little bit of knowledge. And those guys have kind of forgotten more than most people even know. Right?
Oh,
They don't even most people don't even know what's out there, and it's a ton of knowledge that he has.
So we'll hit the questions. We ready for questions?
Optimized bolt carrier. Where is she, and is she safe?
Yeah. So
That's from Matt, by the way, if you're watching.
so she's safe. It's coming back pretty soon, actually.
Oh, nice.
I
I actually had a couple people ask me about it, like offline, like in passing.
Yeah.
So
The long and the short, and I think I've said this, I want to say on some interviews somewhere, but I guess that information's not out there enough. So, originally we were contract manufacturing. We weren't set up to make BCGs or any of the other parts that go with it. And so we were getting parts from different places, and we just had some QC issues. I'm sure as you know, if you've dealt with, but so therefore we kind of put it on the back burner, and Barry wanted to bring everything in-house. And that's a pretty big process. It's pretty drastically different manufacturing processes from what we were doing on the light side.
mm-hmm.
So we got new machines, grinders, all sorts of different stuff. And we've been working on standing up all of that internally, which is about done now. So yeah, we should be back online with putting them out again pretty soon here. I think the first batch actually just came back from coatings, and we're in testing right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where is she?
So yes, it's been 3 years now
Yeah.
since we stopped. We did like a couple thousand initially, contract manufacturing, and then decided to bring it in. But yeah, no, it'll come back. There's nothing. It's not going away. Yeah, it's coming.
That's cool.
So speaking of in-house stuff, what all do y'all like actually manufacture in-house?
So as far as lights go, as much as we can, pretty much everything. We do all of all the machine components are in-house. We have our own turning center for that. We even have our own chip shooters, which are what populate circuit boards. We assemble everything in-house. We don't do coatings, so like anodizing. We have a local vendor that we've been using for almost 20 years now. And what else? Yeah, I think that's we do our own. Like I said, everything. Batteries we have to outsource, obviously. We private label batteries. That's been pretty. It's not like a hidden thing. I think we've been pretty public about that forever. Trying to think. Yeah, LEDs.
What about the suppressor
obviously, we
side?
do not manufacture. Just like everybody else, we have to source LEDs.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the biggest thing, right? That we have to outsource. But yeah, pretty much everything. And on the suppressor side, yeah, pretty much everything. Yeah, in-house as much as possible.
Muzzle devices as well.
Oh yeah.
Y'all make them in-house?
Yep.
That's why I guess the lead times can vary so much on some of that stuff, is because you do have a limited operating capacity, as opposed to, this guy is making these for us and this guy's making this for it. All those muzzle devices, I assume, are coming off the same couple machines, couple dozen machines, whatever it is.
Yes, 100%.
And isn't that why like the Warden got discontinued briefly? I had heard a rumor about that because like the locking collar and stuff, like the demand for cans was so high that they just kind of pushed the Warden off to the side.
Yeah, it wasn't just at the time. I don't think it was discontinued. I think they just weren't making them.
Just not producing them.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was like during the height of COVID, wasn't it?
It wasn't the focus because we were trying to push everything towards the suppressor side.
Yeah.
It did drop off the price list for about a year.
Did it? Probably because they weren't making them. They were like, we might as well stop taking.
We're not going to
orders
take orders if we're not.
Yeah.
And then the demand shot up.
Yeah.
And then somebody was talking about it the other day. I saw a poster like, this is like the golden few months that we might have, right now. Everything we can get stuff, because we don't know what's going to happen next month. I'm not saying run out and panic buy, people.
Or you can.
Or you can. But as long as you're doing it from BigTexOrdnance.com. I'll do Eric's question,
Eric,
right? This is good. From Eric Luley, our friend down in Florida. When is Surefire coming out with a Viz IR laser?
I'm assuming he means like a carbine one.
Yeah.
Not anytime soon. We've talked about it. We've kicked around some ideas, but there's so many things that are much lower hanging fruit that we should be making that are like the priority, right? It's like triaging. It's like let's do the most important things first that are also more attainable. And so the short answer is not anytime soon. We do have the XVL2. It's not probably what you're looking for. It's not like a super precise or long range IR device, but it's meant for, we designed it for handguns, and you can put it on. There's a lot of people that effectively run it on, like sub guns or PDWs and stuff, rattlers or whatever. And it's a, 4-function device: white light, IR illuminator, IR laser, visible laser. I just counted with 5 fingers, but it was 4.
That's the Marine in them.
Right. 1, 2. Where were we? But yeah, that's the closest thing we have. Again, that's not really ideal for long guns or precision stuff, but nothing like an NGAL or a PEC 15 anytime soon.
Question that's not on here, but it just popped in my head here. What's the most popular
Stick to the list.
Surefire product?
Chris,
What's the not counting like batteries that you sell? Like I'm sure that you sell.
If it's a
hundreds.
light, I'm going to say it's the X300U.
Like what is the
If I had
most
to guess.
popular, either weapon mounted
If I'm
or
gonna guess.
handheld flashlight?
Yeah. So 100% it's X300 Ultras all
Yeah.
day long. X300 UA.
Really, the A?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really prefer the A over the B.
Yeah,
I do too.
I'm not a big thumb screw guy.
I
Yeah.
like the B.
Loser.
Yeah.
They're both fine. They're
Yeah.
both good.
Okay.
I just like the A a lot better. Just like I've never had an issue really with it coming on and off the rail. I mean, like easily. Some people say it's really hard to get on or off.
Mhm.
It's stiff. It's not gonna fly off, but I've never had an issue changing it over. Push it down, and then there's also like the different, the Picatinny attachment and stuff versus the universal. Like there's ways to fix it if it's loose on your.
Yeah, the slide bar
Mhm.
attachment that many people don't know about, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I wrote
deal
an
with that.
article on that in like 2018 or 17 blog post on our site, and like,
Still getting hits.
still getting hits on that.
getting
Like on how to
tons of
properly
hits.
install it and tension it with a spring and screw and all that.
Send me that. We'll share it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I can remember beating an A onto my Noveski rail, right when everybody was Rhino
Oh, yeah.
Mountain
Mm-hmm.
X300
I even had the
used
Unity
because they were
little
like the
shroud.
best light you could get at the time
Yeah,
in the smallest package for a weapon mounted light.
yeah. I had one at 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock right
Yeah.
in front of the front sight post.
Oh yeah,
I
Larry
still run
Vickers.
mine on a couple of guns.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. I was expecting like one of the like cheaper price point flashlights to be more popular, but we don't sell a lot, but I didn't know.
We do a decent amount of volume with G2Xs,
Yeah.
but it doesn't touch X300s or Scout Lights.
Yeah.
Like, those are the two, X300s and Scout Lights by far.
That's awesome.
yeah. My first Surefire I think was a G2 before X. It was OD green. It's like
Sweet.
$40. I still have batteries. I have some batteries that expired in 2020, I think. So that means they were made in 2010.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're sitting in the safe. They still work. I just put them over there. I was like,
I think it's
Little
Yeah.
trophy.
yeah.
they're like, they're lithium batteries. Like they hold, I don't know. It's such a small percentage of decline in power even after 10 years. Like they're still going to be good. I think it's like you're still at 90%
Oh, wow.
past 10
Wow.
past 10 years. So yeah, there's still a decent amount of power in them.
My first Surefire was I don't even remember what model it was when I deployed, but then they didn't give us batteries to feed said Surefire, so it lasted like, 2 weeks.
The thought that counts.
Yeah, and then I was like, hey guys, what about fucking batteries here, my dudes? Yeah, no, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Minor details, dude.
Yeah.
That's my first my first Surefire was
You don't
issued
need
as
those.
well. I'm going to skip the next comment because we're not going to talk about that one.
Oh well, actually, follow up on that question from Rick: is Luke Skywalker the greatest Jedi ever?
I mean, I'm going to go with yes. I was looking for the trick in there. I'm going to go with yes. Is that a trick question?
Oh no, it was just the one. He had a whole list of
Yeah,
questions.
like a
and
whole,
those.
and I'm trying to get one that I know you can.
Is Darth Vader considered
Can they make a turbo version of the Stiletto Pro?
More of a
they?
hotspot would be awesome. is
Yeah,
what he
more of a
says.
hotspot would be awesome.
Yeah, we're working on something maybe at some point. But yeah, it's probably not going to be like a full-on turbo, just because for the amount of candela we want, that probably requires it to be too fat to fit the profile of a stiletto. But yeah, we're seeing what we can do.
Cool.
Cool.
That was a good thread. How many lumens is all the lumens?
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
I didn't say all of these were going to be serious questions. We're just going through. Here's a good one. Nick,
Okay, yeah.
I'll go with Nick once
Yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
this was one of my favorite
Oh yeah.
One of my and I don't know how many I bought from
ask
you.
the question. Ask the question so they know what we're talking about.
Replacement for the Sidekick is coming soon.
The little keychain light.
I know. Yeah, no.
I mean, for those.
I was trying to think if there was something that I know about. I don't believe so.
That was an awesome,
Sweet little light.
sweet little light.
Yeah.
They
There's
need to
one of
bring-
my
but
wife.
Pink, yeah, pink, white, black. I think we have a pink one floating around the house somewhere.
There's one of my wife's keys. She's like, "Why do I?" I'm like, "It is a great light. Shut up."
Yeah.
What
Something
happened
on
to
your
the
light.
display case that we had when,
We had a display case for the, I think four.
and it
four
had
of
some
those.
in them?
Oh yeah.
That's probably the pink one he has floating around his house somewhere.
You gave them to your kids.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it. Go for the next one.
So, does Surefire have any plans for an 18350 pistol light? And a lot of people are saying the X300 Turbo is kind of filling that role, but I guess he's looking for exactly, or for an 183, one that specifically takes.
He wants a
18350.
rechargeable option.
Gotcha. Eventually, I think that's probably a direction that will go. I don't think that's going to be anytime soon.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, for me, the Turbo kind of fills everything. Like fits the same holster footprints, and it's extremely bright. And then, I mean, it's CR123s, but there's a ton of them, and they have a 10-year shelf life.
exactly.
Like to me, the Turbo is like the answer. Like I'm perfectly satisfied with the Turbo right now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know the deal. It's like on the volume of sales side, it needed to pretty much fit the footprint of the holsters that exist out there with departments and units out there in mass. And so that was the biggest thing with the Turbo is just, hey, it just needs to be the same size. And the logistic train is behind those batteries as well. And like you said, they're not that expensive. You can buy a pack of 12. I don't know. What do you guys
Like
sell?
22 bucks, something like that.
Yeah.
something
So
like that.
from us, I think it's like, $26, $30, whatever our MSRP is. It's not that much. 10-year shelf life. That's 12 batteries, and that's going to last you a long time. I don't know how much these people are training. If you're training a ton, I guess I could definitely see the desire to have a rechargeable one. But
Yeah.
Well, we got rechargeable 123s.
Yeah, I like the rechargeable 123s for training.
That's a
you
great
can use
point.
that when you go to carry. Swap them out with the real deals and rock and roll.
yep, that's a good point. For training, those would be a great solution.
And those little batteries work good.
Yep.
Yeah.
They do have a little bit less runtime, or a decent amount less runtime than a standard lithium will. But for training, yeah, that's an absolutely good idea.
I totally forgot about those for the.
Yeah, and then like looking at the X300, I'm not like an engineer or anything, but like I don't think there's really enough to keep the same form factor. You'd have to bore it out more, and I don't think there's enough material to fit an 18350 in there.
I'm not an engineer either, but I would make the same assessment by glancing at an 18350 and the sidewall of an
Yeah.
X300. I don't think it's not going to happen
Yeah.
without it getting bigger.
Yeah,
like
you're
you
going to
said.
have to redesign some stuff too to get either a removable head so you can take the battery out and recharge it, or
I'll do
something. You'll
I'll
do
do some measuring and some drilling later with.
Yeah, get your tape measure
Yeah,
out.
I'll
Don't
just- yeah.
don't
Your
don't,
Dremel.
don't break any.
You guys got a drill press, right?
we've got some. We'll make a jig for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get it on. Yeah, and funny, on topic, off topic. I saw a comment on one post the other day that they were talking about the X300Us on Reddit. Oh, I was on the Reddit thread, and somebody's like, "Yeah, just does the X300U have enough spill for decent room clearing?" And I just turned off my computer. I was like, bro, like you have no idea. Like walk around with a lantern back in the day, but yeah, it does. Anyway,
I mean, it's no mini mag light,
but man, it's still working.
Oh, here's a good one from Cole. Unless you have another one.
Nope, I was right on that one.
Oh, he says, what has progressed technically to allow for the increase in power of the turbo line? What were some of the engineering challenges in creating their new line of lights? And then there's another question, which we'll get to later.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'll try and stay in my lane. I know a decent amount, but I'm not an engineer, right? So, like, I don't want to try and sound too stupid. But it's always been kind of customer-driven, and there's obviously different customer groups that have different kind of mission sets and different requirements, right? So, like, it seems like, if you go back to, like, the 90s, there was a big push for candela, and maybe that was attributed to the fact that the performance of the lights was much less than it is today. So we had Turbo Series lights with big bezels that were focused on throwing, the incandescent beams as far as we could. And those were maxing out, like, originally you'd had like 125 lumen and then 250 lumen ones that would run for like 20 minutes. and then they think there was like a 500 lumen one that came out for like those M6 or whatever. But anyways, and then it's like, okay, as technology evolved, LEDs came in, they started getting more efficient, and we were playing with, you know, TIR lenses and reflectors and how that affected beam patterns. Originally, those, like if you look at X200A and X200B, they had a lot of candela for the amount of lumens they were putting out. Relatively speaking, it was a focused beam, and then, you know, we started trying to get more spill out of it. A lot of the fighting at the time was much more close, and so it evolved to what we're now calling, or we've coined just because we have 3 different beam patterns, the hybrid beam pattern. So there's a hot spot with a decent amount of spill on the sides, and then it just seems like full circle. The tactical, you know, kind of community has seen a need for, or a benefit to, additional candela now, and so it's like, okay, let's steer the train back to that direction, and just from what I understand, generally speaking, you know, candela is a couple different things. It's the depth and the shape of the reflector, and it's the size of the emitter, which is a huge contributing factor to that. And so if you can make like a point emitter, a very, very small emitter, you can get a lot of candela out of it. And obviously that is counterproductive to getting more lumens. So like bigger emitters put out more lumens, but have less candela, just generally speaking. And again, I'm not an engineer. We have really smart people that focus on this, but this is just my general understanding of it. So yeah, that's all it was. I don't, you know, I think that there was some challenges in figuring out, you know, what the parameters that we wanted to achieve were. But generally speaking, it's just, what does the customer want, and, you know, is there enough of them to make sense to make this? So yeah, I hope that answers your question. That was a really roundabout answer.
I think that was pretty good.
Are you going to ask the second part of that question?
You can take that one. We'll go back and forth.
Cool. And this is another part of Cole's question here. Are flow-through suppressors the future of Surefire's line, or is the RC3 just an answer to others that have similar tech?
That's a good question.
So can you talk about like why flow-through is even flow-through is even a thing? Like, what can you talk about, like who started that study and wanted what customer was asking for?
Yeah, absolutely.
Flow-through.
Yeah, so low back
if you
pressure.
can call it that.
Yeah, that's like a marketing term from a specific, you know, competitor. But yeah, like low back pressure suppressors in general, like again, not to speak too far out of my lane, there's a bunch of different people that are involved, but you know, the military was having some issues with lead toxicity in individuals that shot a lot, and that's, by the way, contributed through a myriad of different things. It's not just shooting suppressed. Arguably, that might be the smallest thing. You know, we might be focusing maybe too much on that, but that's another conversation that's, again, out of my pay grade. But, you know, like, obviously, like chow, tobacco on ranges, right? That was started being
when you're cleaning up brass with your patrol hat on the range and then putting it on your fucking head.
All of that. Yeah, especially people that are doing a lot of CQB. You know, you go into some of these shoot houses, you look at the floor, right? And there's like an inch of lead dust in there. And you know, if they're doing breaching, they're blowing all that stuff up. If you're throwing bangs, you're kicking all that stuff up and you're running in after it. And that's where like a ton of those problems kind of come from. But anyways, that's where they were seeing an issue with lead blood levels and toxic metals. And obviously that's a big health risk. And so this was one contributing factor was you know, suppressors could be improved to have less back pressure and less stuff coming back in the shooter's face. So that's, from my understanding, where the initial initiative came from.
Cool.
And caveat on that question, Surefire's biggest customer, is it civilian market or is it LE military? Can you answer that question?
It just threw me a curveball because I guess I kind of consider the mill LE, like contract big LE stuff, like one group, and then the consumer side another. And so, you know, it's actually not as, everyone on the internet seems to think that like it's all mill LE. It's not as separated as you would think. It's slightly favored, but not by much. You know, it's a pretty good split. Yeah, so it's slightly heavier on the mill LE side, and as you guys know, like depending on spending, it goes up and down, and it might not be every year. So
and a lot of the smaller LE orders get funneled through commercial.
It's true.
Yeah, so you can't separate that
Yeah, it's hard to.
too hard.
So is Surefire going to come out with more flow through or low back pressure suppressors, or is this kind of the future, or is this just like a new what's the future look like in terms of
Yeah, that was a good.
suppressor technology?
Yeah, that was the other part of that question. That's good.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It made me think about it because, yeah, there's benefits to it, and there's also some cons. I don't think that every suppressor will be replaced with a low back pressure variant.
The
with like
RC2 is not going away right now.
No, not just that though. Like, I mean, in the future when we roll out more low back pressure or RC3 variants, I don't think it's going to replace every single standard suppressor just because there might not be a point and there might be things that those suppressors do better. As an example, like 300 subsonic. You don't have, you're not going to be able to get it nearly as quiet. And if that's what your main goal is, you're never going to beat how quiet you can get with a standard suppressor for a 300 subsonic. Maybe for precision applications, you know what I mean? It might not make sense for a bolt action, rifle, and you want a super lightweight, quiet suppressor, and it's a locked breech. You know what I mean? Maybe it doesn't make as much sense for that as well. So I don't think it's going to replace everything. Again, I don't want to speak too out of school, but yeah, meaning my understanding is it's not going to replace everything. But we will absolutely keep launching other variants of it because it makes a lot of sense for gas guns and whatnot.
Cool. People are asking about 7.62 RC3s and also FDE variants.
Mm-hmm.
Those in the works?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we just try to build. We have limited capacity for manufacturing, so we try to build what the most demand is in the beginning. So we're focusing on full-size black variants. In the past, we tried to launch 3 things at once and then just ended up making a lot of angry customers by delivering a little quantity of each.
Yeah.
So trying to be transparent with, hey, we're focusing on building these first.
That's the best way, because I mean, like, if you look at across any product, whatever it is, black usually outsells FDE like 75,
5 to 1.
Yeah, 5 to 1.
It's about what it is for us. So it's about 5-6 to 1. Yeah.
Yeah, the people. Yeah, it's definitely bad. I think that's a really smart approach. Just get the big initial push out there, and then follow it up with the other ones that way.
Yep, yeah. That's exactly right. And so yeah, we will do a 7.62 RC3. That'll probably be the second version that we launch.
Nice.
So the 5.56 full size was the first one. Then it'll be a 7.62 full size. Then 5.56 mini 3, and there'll be a couple other variants that are still on the TBD. Those are the for sure ones that I just mentioned.
Okay,
That's cool.
Sweet. So, where TF is the BCG? We already touched on that, but
yeah.
The people want the BCGs.
No, I appreciate it.
Will OBCs?
Yeah. Will there be a Lumen Candela upgrade for the XC2 lineup in the future? And will Surefire reintroduce the Max Vision in lieu of the TIR lenses for the XC2s? That's a complicated question. I don't know what half that stuff is.
Science.
Yeah. Do you want me to answer?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is a complicated question. So TIR is a lens technology. Basically, it was an optic, like a machined piece of acrylic that sat over the LED, and that's how you control beam patterns. Alternate to a reflector, meaning inside of a cup that's shiny. So
I like it. It's very technical.
That's how I work. I don't know. So I'm sure there's big words that we could use, but I definitely can't spell them. So we've used TIRs for a long time. The nice thing about a TIR is it's extremely efficient, meaning, if you think about an LED sitting in the bottom of a cup, the light coming out of that, what's going straight out or even like 10 degrees out is not being controlled by you, right? It's going straight out. A TIR controls all of that light, meaning your efficiency-wise, you can direct it exactly where you want it. And so they're typically a little more efficient, but they're also bulky, heavy, expensive. So sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't make sense, depending on what you're trying to achieve. We've used TIRs to make all of our beam patterns. We have 3 main beam patterns. Max Vision is the name of one beam pattern. What that means is it's super wide. It doesn't go very far. Low candela. Lumens vary because there's a bunch of different models, right? Like we have tiny little ones. That Sidekick was a Max Vision light as an example. They were like 300 lumens. But so Max Vision, all that means is it's what the beam pattern is. It doesn't doesn't dictate what type of optic it has, whether it's a TIR or a reflector. And then we have our hybrid beam lights. Consider like the X300 Ultra, the G2X, like kind of those lights that are really good middle ground. It has a decent, moderate middle amount of candela and a good amount of spill as well. And then we have our Turbo Series, which we consider like our higher candela lights. Does that answer?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Turbo vampires.
Not anytime soon. It's an interesting question. I'm asked a surprising amount, and we probably should get that going, to be honest, to be completely honest. They are relatively high candela given the amount of lumens because they're relatively low lumens, and that's because those LEDs are so small to fit next to each other that they're naturally kind of a point emitter. And so they actually have a decent amount of candela. If you look at like a Vampire Series light, they're pretty focused for that reason. But I'm assuming they mean, candela that's kind of similar to what our standard Turbo Series is. Probably not anytime soon, but that would be cool. And maybe.
I just want to say, like, you look at the flash technology in the last decade, it is wild how much flashlights have changed. Like, going from incandescent to LED, and then just the size, like old school huge mag lights to now, like, this blows those out of the water.
Oh yeah.
It's nuts.
Or even like looking at, like, I used to have a P3X Fury on my light because that was the only way I could get 1,000 lumens, with like the VTAC or maybe the Magpul, like clamp mount.
Yep.
And then I had to use like the big Millennium tail caps to run a
XM.
the XM tail caps to get my tape switch on there. But now I can get better performance out of like the 18350 turbo. It's crazy.
Everything's getting more efficient. Yeah, I remember I had an E2D incandescent that I got in high school, and that thing seemed like the sun.
Yeah.
I think it was 60 lumens, but it was just like, this is crazy. But yeah, it's come a long way.
When I got my G2, we're like shining in the trees. We're like, oh man, this is so cool. I can see so far. And it was, I forget how many lumens that was.
I have that old Surefire that Paul gave me that he took to that was on his rifle in Iraq, and it's like,
cool.
Yeah, it's in my office. I'll show you.
That's sweet.
It's gangster, and it's like, you were in Iraq with this thing. You can see like
dude, the sidekick had more output than my first issued weapon mount light.
You're like, you invaded a country with this and had this on your rifle.
We didn't need to know who we were shooting at the time.
That's true.
That is not to be used against me at any point in time.
Geneva Convention, never heard of her.
It's a good thing we're not live.
Anyway.
Statute of limitations, you're good.
Yeah. Here's the question. Why the price point on the RC3?
There's a lot of manufacturing processes in it, long and the short. There's been all these, I think we talked about it offline, which was that we've been meaning to address this or jump on, like a live stream and just answer some questions about it. But yeah, there's no different margins than our RC2 with that suppressor. It's just a complicated suppressor.
People hear, it's 3D printed. It costs $5 to make. Is like I've seen somebody say it literally costs them $40 to print that suppressor.
There's comments that say it's just a metal tube. What do you do? Like it's wild.
Yeah.
And I encourage those people to make a suppressor.
Absolutely. Well, that's always been my rebuttal. It's like, launch your Bubba's
Do it yourself.
Bubba's flow through suppressor company.
If you're in Texas, it's legal. Go for it. Enjoy that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, you're good. It's helpful. I mean, that's the long and the short. So we use both a big 3D printed portion of it, as well as there's machined components in there as well, and then assembly and there's welding and there's a bunch of different EDM. There's a bunch of different processes that make it extremely expensive. That make it even more expensive than the RC2 was. And so it's just priced where it has to be priced for us to make sense. That's part of the reason the RC2 is still going to exist. It's a solid, really good suppressor, and it's a decent amount price point less than the RC3 is. So,
and it hasn't had a price increase in years, right? Or very little.
It's been a few years at least.
Yeah,
a couple years ago, I think it went up like.
Actually, I think it went down. And then it might have gone back up a little bit.
I mean, it's one of the most bomb-proof cans too.
Yeah,
but it's cheaper now than it was when it was released.
Yeah.
I go crazy when people ask me price. I'm like, I'm a marketing guy. I don't know prices. Just ask me what it does.
Yeah, I have to go look on the website. Like I can tell you, like prices that we buy and SKUs and stuff, but like, how much does that cost? Hang on a second, and I have to go look it up. But also on the RC3, it's backwards compatible to all the, or I don't know if you actually call it backwards compatible. It's compatible with all the Surefire muzzle devices, correct?
Yeah, and we did call it backwards compatible.
Okay.
Well done. Yeah, it's all SOCOM muzzle device compatible. So that was a big, initiative for us as well, just because there's so many of those adapters out there.
Oh yeah.
And it would have been a nightmare. And we experienced a little bit of that with the original SOCOM suppressor launch when the adapters changed, and obviously that wasn't to the degree because we've been making SOCOM devices longer than we were those previous end mount adapters. But anyways, it was just a necessity to kind of keep those backwards compatible.
Yeah, for sure. As many devices are out there, I would think if we sat down and looked at it, we sell more Surefire muzzle devices, Surefire SOCOM muzzle devices, than any other muzzle device.
Probably
He's
combined.
right.
100%.
Probably combined.
100%.
Yeah.
Like we like between the war comp, the SF, the flat, the 3-prong. That's what we sell the most of.
Yep.
SF3
P.
SF3P.
P.
Yeah.
Yep. In the closed ton, really all of them, but like we
Yeah.
sell.
There's
sell
nothing
both of those.
touches those.
Not
at all.
even close.
Can we address one thing real quick?
Sure.
Just if we got people's attention.
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
The 3P versus the 4-prong.
Mm-hmm.
That's a question I'm sure. I don't know if you guys get asked, but we get asked a lot. The 4-prong was what we won the contract with, and obviously a lot of people were interested in that. And we've been pushing the 3P harder pretty much since we won that contract. The reason for that, just so everybody is aware, is the 3P is actually slightly better performing than the 4-prong. First of all, the tines are a little bit thicker, which just makes them more durable, and it's slightly better on flash. We had the 4-prong was our first design and what we won the contract with. And when you win a contract, you don't rock the boat and try and resubmit something else because you're going to open it back up for everybody else. So we just sold 4-prongs as a part of that contract, and still launched the 3-prong on the consumer side and to everybody else and pushed that. And for the longest time, we were like, no, you guys should buy the 3-prong. It's a better device. And we were only selling the 4-prongs to the military, and then everyone was like, we want them too. We want them too.
It's not clone correct, bro.
Owners
Yeah.
are so mad.
You're not going to be able to see it anyway.
Right,
But
right.
Yeah.
It sits under the suppressor.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just wanted, I think that's probably out there. But
Yeah,
just
it's starting
in
to get out there more. For a while, like everyone was wanting the 4-prong because you couldn't get it.
Right.
But like on the like discussion boards and Facebook groups, I've been seeing a lot more people saying that the 3-prong is better as far as flash suppression and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see like that getting out there and
That's good
becoming
to
more
know. I
common
didn't know
knowledge.
that.
yeah. I'm going to skip. Is it my turn again?
Yeah.
Or your turn?
Well,
No, I just asked the why. If you want to skip down, I think the next one is Alex's.
Yeah, Dan, we already touched on his X300 body and Ultra and 18350s and all that good stuff. So Alex has a question. He says, why did they go away from the gas pedal tail cap functionality and updating the EDC flashlight line to the Turbo series? Clicky tail caps are so awful for pocket carry. You need a big shroud or non-clicky functionality.
Yeah, it's a simple answer. We used to, with the previous EDCs, offer like 4 different variants.
Yeah.
You could
I
get,
remember.
yeah. So it's just sales numbers. The clicky was slightly more popular, or actually a decent amount more popular. And that's all it came down to. At a certain point, we'd love to make, a version of it, everything for everybody, and you end up with an insane amount of SKUs. The customer suffers because you end up waiting a long time or never getting it because we can't manufacture or maintain all those part numbers. And so it was just the smart decision was like, this is what the majority of people want. Let's consolidate. That's all it is.
Yeah, I remember like taking the EDC 2L, whatever it was, the longer one, and taking off the gas pedal one. And there was one specific one I can't remember now, but I would thread a clicky tail cap on there just to get
It's a
that.
tactician.
Yeah, there's a tactician. That's what it was. Yeah, but I would like the gas pedal's cool and everything, but like to constant on, you have to rotate it, and the clicky is just easier. And then you can still use the clicky as a gas pedal, kind of like if you put your thumb all the way over it, you can halfway press down.
Yeah.
And if you put your thumb over the shroud, it'll only naturally go down as a gas pedal.
No,
If
man,
you,
you're going to lose all your gross motor skills. That's not possible.
Yeah.
if you have your thumb back, you can
I'm a
click it.
clicky guy.
Yeah.
I'm a clicky guy. So there's 3. Clicky guy? What are you? Clicky?
Click.
I mean, I
I'm a
think
clicky guy.
I think 100% of the room is clicky. So that obviously shows why.
So there's a good case study.
Yeah, there's a good case study.
Customer feedback.
This is a good question. That was a good
I've
question.
never had a clicky turn on in my pocket, but I've had the stiletto turn it on in my pocket.
Yeah.
And the stiletto in your pocket gets
Hot,
toasty.
You feel it.
Yes.
The one-handed constant on thing is just such a big advantage, I think. There's so many situations, tactical or not, that like a one-handed constant on is just it's just a huge advantage in my opinion. You know?
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, sit there and like.
And some people like the argument is like, I mean, we don't need to dive too deep into this. It's stupid, but you know, if it's a high first light, they're like, I want to be able to get low first, so I don't kill my night. It's like, dude, put the light against your leg, go through it first, and then go to low. Like if you're wanting low, you have time and opportunity, right? Like
Yeah,
it's clearly
it's
not a
admin
dire
kind of
situation.
thing.
Exactly. Like, but anyways.
Or just fuck your night vision and just.
All right. Dave's
Yeah,
question.
Dave's
This is a good one. So Dave asked, plans to expand the turbo offerings for handhelds. So I want to clarify. I was like, better than beyond their current options. And he said, yes, like a turbo version of the G2 ZX or Fury.
No, there's no plans for that right now. It's not. I mean, we can absolutely do it if the demand is seen. It's absolutely doable, but there's no plans for that right now. Like, no. I'm not against it though. If you guys say and if we see there's demand, like you know, we can make it. It's just got to make sense.
Yeah.
I've been rocking that one since I got it from you, and literally every day. I love
That's
it.
a good little light.
It's the light.
They're pretty sweet.
That's a
hard,
good
hard
little light.
anodizing is sick.
It's hot.
The gray. Yeah, it looks really good. It looks really good. We've burned through that unless.
I think that's pretty
I
much
love
all
that
the
they
questions.
nailed the color of like the old aviator.
Yeah.
Green gray aviators.
It's
like
the original HA. Yeah.
Yeah, the anodizing is just perfect.
I think everything else has already been covered. So.
Yeah, everything's another vampire update, so that's popular.
What's your favorite color?
What?
Yeah, what's your favorite color? What are you a gray person, black,
Of lights?
FD? Yeah, what's going on?
Of,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
lights
yeah,
or
sure.
just in general?
All right,
Or
whatever.
This is such an open-ended question. I guess just black or HA, like we were just talking about. I really dig that new. This is a throwback. If you remember, like our lights used to all just be hard anodized, which was this greenish gray color,
Yeah.
and that's what these new turbo handhelds are offered
These
in as
aren't
well.
on our website yet, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they
No.
We need a Big Tech's exclusive
Take that out.
M340 Mini Scout.
They're on order.
anodized.
You can do it.
those aren't on our
No,
website.
we don't have those on.
I
So
made
I-
the variation.
Yeah.
We actually just got one more question as I refreshed it, and we went from 38 comments to 39. So Russ is asking, what about OD green?
For what?
He didn't specify.
He just was
you
chanting.
enjoy
I agree,
Gib,
Russ.
Gib.
I like OD green on a lot of things. Yeah, OD green's a cool color.
Any plans to like make a scout or a handheld?
No, no. We can. So you know, someone wants to buy 1,000 of them. You know,
There we go.
We can do it.
Well, I
So
think
many flashes.
That's a lot of flashlights.
That's like a lot of flashlights.
If you were to pick one handheld that you can not live without, what is
I
it?
think it'll surprise you.
It's a mod light, isn't it?
I have to confess. No, a G2X in yellow. The G2XD
Yeah.
in
Solid
yellow.
light.
That's my. I use that light more than anything. Like
It's a solid light.
I know it's
Interesting.
sacrilege. Actually, these days I've probably been using the last couple of years. I've probably been using Stiletto Pros more than anything, just because it's often the most. It's in my pocket, but I still think if it was one for the rest of the,
Yeah, if you were like, pick one.
it'd be a G2X yellow. I
Okay.
think.
What about the wrist lights?
What about them?
No, I was thinking back like to the older stuff. I guess it's not really that old, but do y'all still make the wrist lights at all? Or
We
is that,
do. We make
really?
a couple of them.
Huh.
Yeah, they're not super big selling. It's it was an interesting concept, you know.
Yeah, it was a cool idea.
Yeah.
Um,
So Dr. Matthews, the guy that started it all at Surefire, he's still super passionate, and he's always looking, really forward thinking and really outside the box thinking. And that's one of those things. It's like, hey, how can we have hands-free illumination all the time. And then a big component of it was like, if you can't conceal at the time, most of the small guns didn't have rails.
Yeah.
And if you can't conceal a weapon light, what's another good way to do it and have both hands on the gun? Free to manipulate, control, all that stuff. And it was an interesting, new way of doing it. Some people really like it still.
Because y'all have one with a watch on it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool flex.
Yeah. The watch one's kind of big. For me. But it's cool. It checks both boxes. The PLR polymer one. What's I forget the part.
2211.
The 2211 PLM. I think that's what it's called. That's what my favorite one. It's a super small, lightweight one. You barely know it's there, and it's 300 lumens. It's a pretty rad little wrist light, and
Cool.
it's pretty awesome.
It's basically the size of a 123 on a watch band.
Yeah.
I really like the OG stiletto. That's like one of my, because it's super lightweight and
Weighs
it's just
nothing.
like weighs nothing, so you can just like throw it in the pocket.
I would throw it on the bill of my hat, like if I'm working on something.
Yeah.
Because the clip goes right there, and it's actually doubles as a nice little headlamp.
Sale still going on those?
Hmm?
I need to order some of those now that we've went through. We had so many handhelds before Black Friday.
Another thing I just thought of, an older product, not older, it's really not that old, but didn't y'all make like an X300 style light, but without like the switches? Wasn't it like a handheld for like a prison guards or something?
The Y300.
Yeah, the white, yeah.
The why does it exist? 300. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that was interesting. It was a magnet. It had a belt clip with like a magnet, and then the light itself, instead of the rail adapter, had a magnet on it. It was a super strong magnet, actually. But
What'd you do? Put it on your baton?
the requirement was like from one specific place, and from what I understand, and again, don't quote me on this. I'm so far removed from where this was.
We're definitely quoting
It's a
you.
long time ago too.
There was like some incidents where people got in trouble for using a flashlight as an impact device and hurting some people, and so they were no longer allowed to have anything that could be somewhat construed as a baton. And so the normal flashlights that were like tubular, they're like, so this was like a circumventing, like, hey, you have a flashlight, but it's not for beating people.
It's not your 6 D-cell battery mag light that
Yeah.
you can
Awesome.
become a dentist with.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What do you got coming up that you're excited about that you can talk about? Because I know you got a bunch of stuff that you can't talk about.
Product wise,
Yeah.
Or
Or
life.
I was like,
Come on, dude. Like,
well, I have a beautiful sunset walk I'm planning after this.
Good.
XRs, finally. We were talking about XR1, XR2. We've been showing this. This is,
Every SHOT Show for the past.
yeah, it's been a long time. For like,
Blame it on COVID.
yeah, right. There we go.
Thanks.
But that thing will be sweet. So someone was asking if we were going to update the XC1, XC2. This would be the closest thing. XC1 received a small update not that long ago. XC1-C came out. Small improvements in the mount, small improvements in the switch, and then it has a battery door retention little lanyard steel cable type deal like the XC2 did. But yeah, so XR1 and XR2 I'm excited about. They're the rechargeable variants of that similar sized light, meaning, pretty compact, but not like XSC super, micro compact size. This is more like Glock 19 sized light, but not wide like an X300. Those are going to be awesome, and hopefully shipping Q1 this coming year finally. So yeah, we just got packaging in.
Interesting.
I got one with me right here. They're sweet.
cool.
800 lumens in a tiny little rechargeable package. It's pretty sweet.
Nice.
What else? Anything?
Different RC3 variants. I'm super excited
Yeah.
for those. Those are a game changer. Obviously, that's been the majority of our focus recently. It's a big launch for us. Yeah, I'd say I'm excited for those other RC3 variants to finally start coming out. But yeah, as far as what I can talk about, I think those are the top of the food chain.
Cool.
Very cool.
Very, very cool.
Aaron, do you have anything cool going on? Anything new
Just
coming out?
Excited to go to the range tomorrow and shoot this RC3.
Yeah.
I haven't shot one yet.
We have a range plan. What are we doing? I'm assuming this is some sort of competition.
Go to the range.
Go to the range,
Shoot guns.
film.
The switches are about to launch, right? Can we talk about that?
Oh yeah.
This is launching Friday.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Can Can we take a quick pause?
So we just took a small break, and now we're back to wrap this thing up. And we've got to hit a couple points before we do. Andrew, tell me about your shoes.
These are a cheap Amazon special 0-drop wide toe box deal.
Okay.
Nice.
I like Ultras a lot. I wear a ton of Ultras. I've chewed through a lot.
Yeah.
Like since the Lone Peak.
I need to get like a new one.
Nice.
Like, come
Yeah.
off.
I've been a big fan. I did the John Muir Trail in
cool.
Lone Peak mids, and I've had every version of them since like the 3 or something like that. I like the wide toe box thing. I got wide feet, and I'm a big fan of the Pronation deal. But they're expensive and they wear out fast. And these are I just started trying these, and they seem to be okay. They were like $30 or $40 on Amazon.
wow.
Those look good.
Like
Yeah.
just a wide toe box 0-drop shoe. I don't know. So
Yeah. Cool.
yeah, giving them a shot.
We
Nothing
always
fancy.
talk about shoes for some reason.
I have Ultras though. I got like a Lone Peak 7 with me for the range or whatever.
Cool.
That's like I go to.
Fantastic. Anybody got anything else?
Switches.
Switches? Switches are coming out. What switches?
Switches get stitches.
CSM 07. I didn't name these things. Don't blame me. CSM and the CSP. So essentially, if you guys are familiar with our SR07, the SR07 is that pressure switch that grabs onto the rail, and it has both the momentary pad as well as like a dome switch for clicking on constant on.
Yep.
This is just the dome switch portion of it.
Oh.
And then there's the P is the Picatinny version, and the M is the M-Lock version for M-Lock direct mounting. It's obviously a much shorter footprint. So depending on A, if you don't want the momentary pad, or B, if it's like PW, smaller guns, you have less real estate running lasers and stuff, everything gets a lot tighter. This will fit in a much smaller space.
Fantastic.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know those were coming out.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, dude.
I
I really
appreciate you
appreciate your
having
time. Excited about tomorrow. We'll get that content up as soon as possible. This is dropping here very shortly. So if you've tuned in and we answered your question, you're welcome. If we didn't, well, sorry.
Ask better questions.
Ask better. But thank you for your support. And hey, guys, thank you very much for supporting us through Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Yeah. we
Kick ass.
Really appreciate
Kick
it.
ass. Really appreciate it. Awesome deals. Awesome time. Getting them out the door. They should be already. I mean, our people are already getting them.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No backups or backlog or anything.
Yeah. Fantastic. So we really appreciate that. And thanks for listening.
Remember to get your chimneys sweep this season before you light your house on fire. That's all.
Words of
PSA.
wisdom.
There you go.
Drive on the right, pass on the left.
Hey, there you go.
And
Yeah.
like on Audible, right? We need
Yes,
some
we have-
Audible reviews. If you listen to this podcast on Audible, please give us a 5-star rating or however that rating system works there. Thanks for tuning in to the Big Tex Ordnance podcast. And